Hello again, Winston here. Coming back with an update on the whole Riot Vanguard situation. It's been a month since the release of my video where I was talking about it, and I also wanted to say thank you for all the likes and comments. And it was nice seeing that so many people share my sentiment and are going through the same thing, kind of, dealing with having to uninstall the game and being scared of the invasiveness of Vanguard. So, thank you so much for the encouragement and the support, and it basically makes me want to make more videos for you guys, so thank you again for that. As for this, I've decided to do a timeline of Riot's announcement of Vanguard and then the constant delay announcements we've been getting, but also the deafening silence that we've been dealing with recently, because we have heard nothing in a long time and nobody knows what's going on, even though they had promised to keep us posted like every step of the way. And this, as you will see, they've repeatedly stated this, like, oh, we're going to keep you posted every step of the way, you'll know what's going on, but nothing for a very long time. So we're going to go through it step by step. I'm kind of going to take you through a journey, let's say. And then I also want to recommend a couple more videos from other creators that you should definitely check out so you can be more informed on the situation. And yeah, thanks again. Thank you for watching. So this all started on January 5th with the release of the Season 2024 Look Ahead video. This is a classic dev update where they discuss a bunch of different topics, and one of them was the implementation of Vanguard anti-cheat. Now, they announced that this would be released either late February or early March. So this was announced before patch 14.1, which was coming out January 10th. So keep this in mind and the whole chronology of the whole thing. And I'm also going to include a couple of snippets from Richard Lewis's video, which is very good. I highly recommend it. And he analyzes this dev announcement, but then he also goes into the terms of service of everything that you're agreeing with when you decide to install Vanguard, which, nobody really reads terms of services, but it's a lot of shady stuff there. And I feel like if people would read it, they would definitely not want to agree to all of this invasiveness. I'm going to show you the whole section dedicated to Vanguard from the dev update video.
Last year, we spent some time behind the scenes working on updating League's anti-cheat and bot detection software, as our current version had fallen behind the times. This was compounded by the security breach earlier in the year, which increased our vulnerability to botting and cheating. And a pretty consistent piece of feedback that we've been hearing from you all is the high number of bots in games, disrupted smurfs in ranked, and an increase in scripting. We know this has been a consistent pain point in League, so it's been something we've been working on fixing.
One of our goals this year is to maintain and improve the competitive integrity in all of your League games, whether it's in ranked or normals, Clash, Arena, whatever. So in late February or early March, we're bringing Vanguard to League. Vanguard is our proprietary anti-cheat and anti-botting software that's been active in Valorant since the beginning. We've seen a huge amount of success in their ability to catch and stop cheaters in their games, and we expect to see similar results when we implement it in League.
Similar to Valorant's version of Vanguard, Leagues will run at the kernel level. This is becoming standard for strong anti-cheat software in gaming, as cheat and bot makers are quick to adapt. If you don't run at this level, they will, and thereby evade all of the anti-cheat software as a result. Now, Vanguard offers us the ability to catch bots and cheaters as quickly and effectively as possible. It also gives us the opportunity to do things like hardware ban offenders and terminate matches in which a cheater is detected, refunding loss of LP for everybody except the person cheating, of course.
Now, we know that there's a question and concern of data privacy around kernel-level anti-cheat. This is something that came up with Vanguard and Valorant as well, and we want to take a moment to tackle those concerns up front here. Vanguard does not collect or process any personal information differently from our current anti-cheat software. We don't need or want to know anything more about you or your machine other than what is necessary to maintain integrity when playing our games. Now, if you already have Vanguard installed because you've played Valorant, you won't need to do anything else, and you can continue as normal. But if you haven't, starting in a few weeks, you'll be required to install Vanguard in order to play League.
We know that this may be a meaningful change, but we're very confident it will lead to an overall better League experience for everyone. We'll be sure to communicate with you all as the changes go live, and to let you know how things are going afterwards.
January 24th is when patch 14.2 comes out, and there is a paragraph there about Vanguard. It states, in a few weeks, we'll be introducing Vanguard, Riot's proprietary anti-cheat software that will be required for all League of Legends and Teamfight Tactics games. Starting patch 14.2, we will run a diagnostics check to see if your computer is ready for this update. If not, please review our troubleshooting guide or reach out to player support. So as of this update, what we are made to understand is that Vanguard will be implemented starting with patch 14.3. So January 29th, Richard Lewis puts out a video on YouTube called Riot's Vanguard Harvests More Data Than You Think. And in it, he reacts to and analyzes the dev update that I showed you. And he talks about their lack of transparency and the vagueness relating to the invasiveness of Vanguard. And he also points out the fact that Riot Games have suffered data breaches not once, not twice, but 3 times. So they've already had 3 strikes. And he kind of gets very angry and frustrated with the fact that Riot Games now expects us to trust our own data with their company after they've been hacked 3 times. I'm going to include a couple of snippets from his video, but I definitely recommend you guys to go check it out and watch the whole thing because it's definitely eye-opening, but it's also really hilarious to watch.
Before we even get into China, before we even get into that, why on earth would I let Riot do it? How many data breaches have Riot had? They had the one in 2013 I uncovered and wrote about, where they hid it from people. They had the one where they sent out people's details falsely as part of GDPR, and they got that wrong, and they risked massive GDPR fines. They had the source code leak. That's just League. So, guys, I'm just going to say, if you ever showed the world you could handle data safely, then maybe you could have it. But you can't. You as a company, you've had your 3 fucking strikes, and you must be very much out of being allowed to harvest data. In fact, if the government was a bit more savvy, they simply wouldn't allow you to do it. For the same reasons that we're going to get into, same reason they want to shut down TikTok. How long do you keep it? What do you keep? Can you be specific, please?
We don't need or want to know anything more about you or your machine other than what is necessary to maintain integrity when playing our games.
Could you define what is necessary then? Will the next sentence be you defining what is necessary? Just so we all know, for full transparency.
Now, if you already have Vanguard because you've played Valorant, you won't need to do anything else, and you can continue as normal.
It's back off to the dev team now for an update on...
That's it. Right. In this video, you're just saying, listen, we don't want to know more than we have to keep cheaters out your game. Yeah, can you specify what that is? And by the way, we're not going to take anything we're not already taking. Okay, yeah, but what are you taking? You know, and in terms of how long we've got it for, we don't want to keep it any longer than we need. How long is that? It's actually fucking insane that they're just this vague about it. Data privacy. We believe we should collect the absolute minimum data to effectively run our games and continuously improve your experience. When we collect data, we'll be transparent. When's that happening? And we'll keep it for only as long as is necessary, and we'll protect it as if it were our own. You had a source code leak, you stupid cunts. You lost all your data. So that does not reassure me, you fucking cretins. What a thing to say. Actually, the worst thing you can say. Then, we know collecting voice data is a concern for many of you, but be assured we would never ship anything if we weren't comfortable having our own data treated the same way.
Riot collects information in 3 different ways. We, the users, provide some of it directly, some of it they record automatically, and they receive some from third parties, such as social media. Now, they do mention that they collect the information we choose to provide them. However, by declining to provide them with some of the information, we cannot access the full features of Riot services. Under categories of information that they collect and distribute, we have identifiers such as name, username, email, billing address, telephone, IP address, unique device ID, date of birth, age, gender, even health information. Under commercial information, we got purchase history, payment information. Then we have internet activity information such as timestamps, clicks, scrolling, searches, chat logs, PC device, operating system, ISP, advertising, and analytics. They also collect geolocation data, which is country of origin and current residence, audio, electronic, visual, thermal, olfactory information, which these last two baffle me because thermal has to do with temperature and olfactory has to do with the sense of smell. So I don't even understand how they could possibly be obtaining that data, but I guess they wanted to cover all their bases here. Now, this next part is really interesting. Under sharing information, Riot states the following: we do not share your contact information with independent third parties without your knowledge, except as described in this notice to enforce terms of services, or if we're required to do so by law. Now, keep this law part in mind because it's important. If we ever stop providing Riot services, like if we are bought out or invaded by yodels, we may share your information with the buyer. This is very interesting that in all of the terms of services, this is the only time they've decided to crack a joke. So, sure, right? If by yodels you mean Chinese corporation or the Chinese government, and if by the buyer you mean Tencent, then you're spot on. Now, remember that little caveat in the sharing information section that states that Riot Games can indeed share information if required by law. Well, here is a really interesting fact. So, like I said, Riot Games is 100% owned by Tencent, which is a Chinese company. And according to the National Intelligence Law of the People's Republic of China, of which Article 7 is one of the most controversial sections in it, um, this article potentially compels businesses registered or operating in the People's Republic of China to hand over information to Chinese intelligence agencies such as the MSS and to conceal the fact that they do so. So, Article 10 makes the law applicable extraterritorially, which has implications for Chinese businesses operating overseas, specifically technology companies, compelling them to hand over user data even when operating in foreign jurisdictions, aka Riot Games can indeed take your data, and they're legally allowed to conceal the fact that they're doing so. Now, let's go back to our previously scheduled timeline recap. February 7th. Patch 14.3 comes out, and this is the first official delay of Vanguard. The patch notes state the following. It was previously communicated in the 14.2 notes that we will be introducing Vanguard, Riot's proprietary anti-cheat software that will be required for all League of Legends and Teamfight Tactics games. However, this change has been rescheduled due to some critical bugs with the client pop-up we planned to have in 14.2, which caused us to delay one patch cycle. This change also means that we are pushing back Vanguard's launch from 14.4 to 14.5 to still give players plenty of time to get ready for this change by installing Vanguard. February 17th is when I put out my YouTube video talking about how I'm quitting League after 12 years because of the implementation of Vanguard. And at that point in time, we were all convinced that patch 14.5, March 6th, was going to be the official implementation of Vanguard. That is why in that video I stated, I only have 3 more weeks to play. I was kind of lamenting about the whole situation because that's what everybody thought at the time. Okay, it's patch 14.5, this is it, it's happening then. However, as we all know, this did not come to be again because February 22nd came along with patch 14.4, and this is the statement we got. We've been communicating the past few patch notes that Vanguard was coming, but after some time on the PBE testing the diagnostics check, we've elected to change the rollout plan. Instead of a global rollout, we're going to be releasing in a single region first with patch 14.5. This allows us time on live service to evaluate how Vanguard is functioning and being experienced before making adjustments if required.
Also adopting a rollout method that will help us learn more about how it's impacting players before we roll out to all the regions. So we'll start with one region first. We'll closely monitor everything as players get into games with Vanguard Live.
So we'll be evaluating how Vanguard runs in that region and how players are experiencing it before our targeted global release in April. We'll be sure to keep you all updated on any adjustments we make and how it's going.
Now, they did not mention which region this is on the regular patch notes. However, apparently on the TFT patch notes, it was indeed confirmed that the region selected is the Philippines. The user Lost Vengeance on Reddit points out some of the reasons why the Philippines was selected to be a sort of guinea pig server by Riot. Apparently, the Philippine servers have been used in the past when Clash first rolled out, and when they had a crash because of the high server population, they ended up canceling it for NA. It's also generally easier for them to get feedback from an English-speaking country. A majority of Filipinos still play on internet cafes with low-spec machines, so it's easier to test Vanguard there on different setups. Valorant is also extremely popular there, which already means that people have Vanguard installed. And there's also apparently been an uptick in cheating, with a lot of speculation about some of the top challengers from the Philippines being cheaters. A lot of the cheats are coming from China, which are using the Philippines if the manufacturers from Shenzhen, Hong Kong, and Japanese servers if the manufacturers from Shanghai, to test their cheats before releasing them to Korean and Vietnamese servers. This is because it's easier to bot these accounts since they don't require IDs like Vietnamese or Korean servers. So after waiting for a little bit, I went back to Reddit to check and see what happened in the Philippines with Vanguard, and everybody was asking people how is it performing there, if they had any issues. Come to find out that it actually has not been released in the Philippines yet, and nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows why it hasn't been, but everybody was linking back to this post from Caden House, which states the following. Apologies on the confusion with this week's patch notes. We wrote that Vanguard would be going live in the Philippines with 14.5, but that's not true just yet. There was a date change that was missed, and that's totally my fault. Working on removing this for all regions. So this is all we know. Patch 14.5 came out March 6th, and there were no updates in the patch notes or no mention of Vanguard. Then March 20th, patch 14.6 came out, and again, there were no updates or mention of Vanguard. Normally, there's a little menu section there, which says Vanguard attached to, champions, items, all the rest of the things, but absolutely nothing. So it's just been quiet, and nobody knows what's going on. And supposedly, the rollout for Vanguard was supposed to be April globally. But now, since it hasn't even been rolled out in this one region, of course, it's going to be postponed globally. But we just haven't received any communication, in spite of Riot and the devs constantly telling us that they will keep us posted every step of the way. We have gotten no more updates, and I just feel like we're all stuck in limbo. And I have mixed feelings. Part of me is happy because I get to play League more, and part of me just wishes that we would hear. Best case scenario would be that they're just not going to do this anymore. They're not going to implement Vanguard. I know that's not going to happen. I feel like it's too late for that. We have passed to that point. But I just wish they would be more transparent and they would be better at communicating with us, just so we know what's going on. Because I think it's very weird to completely omit saying anything about Vanguard for the last two patches. Like, absolutely nothing. No mention at all. And just putting it out there like, oh, we're releasing it in one region, and then not doing that, but not communicating why they didn't do that. It's a weird situation. Like I said, I'm happy. I've been playing probably a bit too much and putting everything else on a back burner, which is not good. So instead of reading, painting, going out and doing other activities, I'm just playing League a lot these days because I know it has an end date. So I'm just panicking and, oh my god, I gotta play as much as I can and save as many replays as I can so I can make more videos and everything. I just want some answers, that's all. So thank you guys again for watching this video, and now I'm going to share a couple of other videos from other creators that I recommend, including this really interesting documentary I found from a hacker's perspective on how cheaters can still bypass the kernel-level anti-cheats, including Vanguard. So I find it really fascinating, and I highly recommend you guys watch the whole thing.
Because there is a layer deeper than the deepest software layer, even deeper than the negative ring layers, and that layer is the physical hardware itself.
It onto a system and run kernel-level code on that system. The problem that I have with the Vanguard anti-cheat engine is that the Vanguard anti-cheat engine is a kernel-level rootkit. Where does the collection stop? Where does the privacy begin?
And caught active cheaters and exposed private cheats more than any other esports journalist. So I have talked about it from all perspectives. I've talked about it being fun, even. I wrote an article a long time ago, and it really pissed people off, where I interviewed cheaters.
Let's talk about hardware cheats, or direct memory access cheats. DMA cheats are cheats that run on separate hardware. One such piece is this. This is called a Arduino, and this specific model is called a Arduino Leonardo. You can purchase this for about $20.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.